Yo, what's going on YouTube? I hope you guys are all having yourselves a fantastic day. In this video, we're going to be doing some more sneaker modeling, as well at the end, I'll throw in a little bit of clothing modeling and stuff. As you guys saw in the beginning of the video, that's our final product, so let's get right into this. First, we're going to start with the unreleased Travis Scott 1 Mochas. Now, these shits are absolutely fire. Definitely need to get my hands on these. So just like my other shoes, I started off with the sole, but this time we kind of cheesed this a little bit and just brought in the Jordan 1 sole from the Jordan 1 highs. That kind of sounded weird, just the normal Jordan 1s. Exported that from my previous project by using selection only on just the sole, and just brought that straight over into this file just to save a little bit of time. Anything to save a little bit of time always helps. The only problem I had with this was that the curve was obviously off on the sole, and because I had already applied it in the other file, I couldn't properly adjust it to fit the Jordan 1 Low reference image that I had, so that I should just use proportional editing and select like a bunch of the vertices, and then I was able to flatten out the bottom to match that reference image. Probably not the best way to do it, but again, it worked. Now, I also tried a new method to do the midsole. For our previous shoes, we just brought in a plane and extruded the vertices to follow our reference image, but honestly, it's kind of annoying to line up the midsole plane with the bottom sole, or the bottom of the sole, or I guess just the sole. Anyways, so my new method was to select all the top vertices of the bottom, then hit P and separate by selection. That way the bottom vertices of the midsole is already lined up with the bottom, and then just extruded those vertices upwards and then adjusted them accordingly to a reference image. There was one problem with this that took me a minute to figure out. So as you can see, the vertices have like this blue outline to them, and that's because in our previous Blender file, I made all those angles, I guess, sharp, but I didn't really catch on to it because in the previous file they were pink, and in this one they're obviously blue, so I just honestly didn't really know what was going on, so I had to re-Google why my vertice lines were blue. There was also some gaps in the bottom of the sole, and so when I connected them with the blue edges, it didn't really give me a smooth outcome, which I think was because those specific faces weren't sharp like the rest of them. So I just deleted those whole sections and pretty much just remodeled that whole area by extruding the last vertices before the gaps appeared, which ultimately fixed my issue and gave me a smoother outcome. Alrighty, now our midsole was complete and it was looking pretty good. And next up was this first piece of the side leather. I don't really know the official name for this part, but whatever, we'll go with the side leather part 1. And for this, I brought in a curved surface just in order to get the general shape of the piece, and then we'll go up to the object tab and convert it to a mesh to get more of like the exact shape that we need. I've made 3 pairs of shoes. I've done it twice this way. You could also just do the normal box sculpting or whatever you want to call it with a plane, but I just like to mix it up and try different things, or I guess more just practice what I've already learned. And so now we have that part of the leather converted to a mesh, and sometimes it creates way too many vertices than you need, so I actually took some out and then just use proportional editing. You can turn that on by pressing O, and then just continue to shape the vertices to fit that part of the reference image. Next up, I created the outer toe box leather. I did this using the same method I did for the midsole, so I just selected the top vertices that I needed that lined up with our reference image, the top vertices of our midsole that is, and then with them all selected still, hit P and then separate by selection, which will create its own mesh, just like we did with the midsole, and then just extruded them upwards, and then adjusted our vertices to fit with our reference image. Once we got our mesh all lined up with the reference image, it was time to curve it in to give it that shoe shape. So I selected the entire top row of vertices and then just scaled them down, which curved our mesh in to look like the actual toe box. And then it was time to line up our toe box side leather with our part 1 leather, just trying to get them all lined up and one inside of the other to match the actual shoe look. It's a little bit tough, but you just have to play around with it for a little bit, and then eventually you'll get it close enough. And then for this piece of leather, I forgot to add the holes in that the shoelaces go through. So you're just going to want to select 4 faces, hit I, and then bring them in a little bit. And then you're going to select the outer vertices of those 4 faces, go to Loop Tools, and then change it to a circle. And then you can delete the faces on the inside again, and then that's how you get the holes in your leather. It's a really cool trick I learned from Aussie Arts. Alrighty, and now the rest of the shoe is pretty much following the same steps, so I'm just going to be throwing some music behind it. I might check back in here and there. Otherwise, I'll see you towards the end of creating the shoes. So here we go. Actually, I want to make one more comment. Now, if you already haven't noticed, I forgot that I was making a left-footed shoe. When usually I do these, I do the right foot for some reason. So I actually did the inside and the outside of the shoe incorrect. But you'll still be able to get the point, and then at the end, I ended up switching it around and fixing it properly. So now we'll get right into the time lapse.
I've been on the west side, cause that's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. I've been on the west side, cause that's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. I'ma blow today. I ain't hearing what they say. tryna eat, I need more than just a taste. Now they tryna talk, oh no, they should know their place. Man, I'm ballin'. This ain't cap, baby, now I feel like calling. From the O, but I got the music poppin'. All the time, man, it started get obnoxious. Now I gotta drive, yeah, I'm feeling nauseous. Gotta drive top down, then I hop out. I've been feeling hot now. Feeling like the man, I'm my own boss now. Telling all my exes, now they getting crossed out. I've been on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. Popping on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today.
I already blew up, man, I knew I would, okay. Who the hell is you to tell the dude that I ain't great? Play my work, then work my plan, and now I'm on my straight. I soak up the love and I repel all of the hate. Vic Sage, why they tryna play us? I make 20 racks to wrap up on the stage, I invested that right back to my estate, Dinner table, everyone gon' get a play, Started with $5 bills, shoot for dollars in the Ville. I'm in the villa, I'm counting the spiller. My mama say I gotta chill. Turning down record deals. Now I got a couple mil. Automated all the bills. I'm concerned about the thrills. I'm on a yacht with a big booty, 10 out of 10, little mama. I'm on a tour bus, moving around the country, counting money in pajamas. I don't deal with any drama. You gotta email my sister. That's my assistant. I'm about the business. God is my business.
I've been on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. Popping on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today.
Alrighty, and there you guys have it, the Travis Scott 1 Jordan Lowe's Reverse Mochas. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Always trying to get better, and the feedback is always appreciated. As this video comes to an end, I'm just going to throw some more music on for some time-lapse making some clothes based off of my favorite shirt. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thought I told y'all that it's mine, whoa. They ain't try me yet, get some mind blown. When they throw shade, that's when I glow. I'm so ahead of y'all, that's a different time zone. Ooh, I gotta go. I've been working, told them please don't hit my phone. I'm in my zone, bruh, just leave me alone. Was on the road, but I swear I'm coming home. Now the drinks on me, I think we need a toast. See, I did it for me. Now my old friends calling, told them nothing's for free. Told me time is money, dog, swear I paid all my fees. I was starving for this game, now my family can eat. Thought I told y'all that it's mine, whoa. They ain't try me yet, get your mind blown. When they throw shade, that's when I glow. I'm so ahead of y'all, that's a different time zone. Face, came through for that show. Been ballin' Derrick Rose. Ooh, I tasted those wins. Had a few on Nemo. Think I'm back in my bag. We been living too fast. Got my brothers right behind. Ooh, they got my bag. Seen these people talking, but they jealous of me. So I never listen when they try to tell it to me. And dog, I lost so many people, that's a blessing to me. Yeah, I took too many L's, but they lessons to me.